Xbox One's backwards compatibility allows Xbox One owners to be able to play Xbox 360 games on their new current-gen console.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Crash Power, and if you're new, I'm a zombie fan just like you that started a YouTube channel 3 years ago to connect and help the zombie community. And if you'd hit that like button to help me out, I'd really appreciate it. What you're looking at now is an advertisement for the Xbox Live Store, and it shows a bunch of deals coming out every day, all this time, for games for gold on Xbox Live. But if you go back and look here, you'll notice that, hey, that's Black Ops 2 on the left. Well, that led to a bunch of videos saying that I think we're going to get Black Ops 2 for Christmas. We're going to get Black Ops 2 for Christmas. Of course, we didn't. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to not get it. Larry Hryb said the other titles will be coming out next year. Black Ops 2 does have a deal on the Xbox Live Store, but it's only a discount for like 40 or 50% off. In case you didn't know, Black Ops 2 has been the most requested game on Xbox 360 to receive a backwards compatibility on Xbox One for months, with over 200,000 user votes to be backwards compatible. So after this little occurred, and when the whole community got hyped about seeing that Black Ops 2 at the lower left-hand corner of the screen, apparently people have been pestering the hell out of Larry Hryb on social media, demanding to know whether or not the damn thing's going to be backwards compatible. Apparently he's finally got triggered and snapped, and replying to some of these tweets that, nothing is wrong, nothing's confirmed. For a while, Major Nelson responded to users by sending them to the Wikipedia page, but apparently that wasn't helpful for fans, so then cooler heads prevailed. He referred to the frequently asked questions section of the website, which simply says, if I gather up all my friends and we constantly tweet you or other members on the Xbox team about a title for backwards compatibility, that'll make it happen, right? No! A lot of YouTubers, including myself, are covering this topic and putting videos about the same topic on YouTube, just like I am. But I wanted to give you some additional information, 2 bits of facts that will clear the fog of war as much as possible. First, Microsoft has officially announced that this week starting January the 8th, there will be backwards compatibility announcements once again. Sometime later this week, they are going to announce the next new backwards compatibility titles on Xbox One. Will it be Black Ops 2? I doubt it. But the second bit of information, I'm going to play you an audio file from the interview, not actually me just saying such and such said so. I want you to hear from Bill Stillwell, the guy that's actually in charge of the backwards compatibility team at Xbox. We already know that Activision has the ultimate decision whether or not a title is backwards compatible, and if they actually plan to make a remastered version of it in the near foreseeable future, it might be unlikely they'll release a remastered version of it because it could hurt sales. However, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get remastered. And this audio interview actually clears up some of the confusion and lets you know exactly the steps that have to occur for them to be able to publish it out, and why maybe a bigger game might take longer than a smaller one. And I think you'll find it very informative. Here's a brief excerpt from the 1-hour podcast Major Nelson had on his MajorNelson.com website.
Studio today, joining us from his backward compatibility laboratory, Bill Stillwell. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Larry. How are you?
Now, your team is responsible for running the backward compatibility program.
Yes, the team that I work on runs all compatibility efforts for the platform, as well as also 360. So here for us.
Now, you brought some stats, right? You've got a few stats you want to share with us.
Well, we're over 280 games.
280 games.
We're I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but we're going to try and get 300 as quick as possible.
Okay.
We may get it in by the end of the calendar year. We'll see.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Maybe not. Be close.
Okay.
And we've done, we launched with 100 games.
Yep.
Over 100 games. We've done 170 plus games since the launch.
Sure.
One of the other things that a large part of what we work on, just from a mechanics, physics of releasing a game, is we republish everything. So we're effectively the largest publishing studio at Microsoft. We publish more than anybody else.
Okay. Right.
And so that also means that a lot of these games, when they came out, they released the game, and then a DLC pack came out a few months later, and then another map pack came out. We have to do it all at one time, and we have to do it all for all regions.
All over again.
Every time, yes. And so we've released a ton of content.
You guys have done so much incredible work, and I think that people forget that, it's not like you just take you go out to, wherever and buy go to someone's house and say, oh, we've got this Xbox 360 disc, and hand it to Bill and say, hey, Bill, can you convert this?
Yeah.
No, that's not the way it works.
We haven't talked a lot about the tech, and we will at some point go more in detail.
Sure.
We're not ready to really expose all of it yet, but we do still have to do work on every game. One of the things that happens is when we get a game, we have everything ranked.
Yep.
And when something comes up, it's the rank is time for this game. The first thing they do is they put it through a full playthrough just to collect enlightenment data, to collect shaders, and make it so that we can package the game and make it run effectively.
Now, when you say rank, what does that mean?
User Voice, the website that we have up on the forum, where users can vote for the titles that they want.
Yep.
That is actually our primary ranking algorithm, if you will. We look at other things. We look at the popularity of the game, how well it sold.
Right.
And then from there, we start ingesting those games into our system and running them through testing passes.
Sure.
Not every game comes in that rank order.
Yep.
So the ones that are top of the User Voice are the first games that we look at, but they don't come out in that order because we don't hold anything.
Right.
And so we'll get a game that just happens to be ready to go. It'll come through. It'll ingest quickly. It's a short game. It takes, a tester 4 hours to get through it or 6 hours to get
and you
through
have to,
it.
and let's be clear, you have to play every single game again.
We play every single game. We play it multiple times.
Multiple times. So when you guys make it, so you're like, okay, we're going to play the game. This worked okay. The shaders, the collision were wrong. Okay, play it again.
Yep. And it's not everybody's like, oh man, I wish I could play games for a living. It turns out that it's not the fun way to play a game.
Right.
It's, hey, just run into this wall 400 times until we know it works.
Right.
But we go through all of that. And then in some cases, we'll have issues come up and we'll realize that we're not handling a condition correctly in the emulator. And so we'll take a change to the emulator to make the game run better.
Right.
But that may require, it may be destabilizing, or it may be a type of change that requires us to do another full playthrough again.
Yep.
So we do continue to work. It's important, I think, for people to realize that when a game like Omega 5, which is a fun XBLA game that came out today, we didn't stop working on a title that you really wanted that was
to
higher
go do that.
User Voice
Right.
to go do this instead.
Right.
We pay a lot of attention to what the ranks are and what people want, and we try to deliver them as fast as we
But there's
can.
also something to point out, you talked about that, you're paying attention to the ranks. It's not just like, oh, hey, this particular title is ranked number 1. It's working. Let's go release it. Because we work in an IP-based industry, intellectual property, we don't, you need to go find out who owns the rights to the game and can you in fact release it?
Yeah, that happens a fair amount. A lot of time, we have another part of the team. They only interface with the publishers, third-party publishers.
So the business side of it.
Yeah. And they look to collect, do you still have the rights to this game? In some cases, it may just be the music.
Sure.
One of the things that with Xbox One, the ability to game DVR and broadcast.
Yeah.
That's a different music license.
Yeah.
And so nobody did their 360 contracts with that license in mind. They bought the single use or the limited use license, not redistribution.
Right.
And so they'll have to consider, what's the financial impact, or will the licensing company or the company they licensed from give me a waiver?
Right.
And sometimes they
So
have
there's
to
work that needs to be done.
They pursue all that. And then at the same time, IP changes hands. People buy rights. People buy studios. Studios go bankrupt.
Yeah, there's I can think of a handful of studios that were big back in 360 that don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, one that we've gotten pretty good at tracking down. THQ,
Sure,
obviously released a ton of great 360 games.
Yeah,
and now all their IP's been scattered and bought by various companies.
So now you're gonna like, okay, we want to find this THQ game was X. Now you're going to scratch your eyes and go, gee, who owns the rights to that?
Yeah, like a lot of legwork.
Yeah, it takes a long time. And also, there's a little bit of the Wild West in some of these areas around middleware contracts, and so you'll find just really strange. One of the things we've learned is no matter how logical it would seem to write a contract with a company, somebody has written one that there's no way anybody would ever do that. Oh yeah,
they did it.
Where they've said very specifically a date, or they've said very specifically a console brand, or something like that. It's just weird.
And
stuff.
Because we respect all the IP rights holders, we have to share it down. We have to do our due diligence and make sure we get clearance so that we can do this.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to say the third party support we've gotten for the program has been amazing.
Yeah,
they're great partners. They all want to be a part of this.
Sure.
It's hard to figure out sometimes.
You have to untangle that mess that happened 10 years ago of a contract.
Or we'll find something like a disc that was part of a pack-in for some other promotion that had nothing to do with the actual game that now is also how you could play the game, and we have to find that disc and make sure that it's the same image. And then the other thing that we'll go through is particularly for big games.
Right.
They'll have a game of the year, and then they'll maybe have had a platinum hits, and then sometimes they'll actually include different DLC or something with it, and we have to figure out all of those because we have to map that structure before we can publish the game too.
Right. It's so the good news is, or not the good news, is just to be clear, is that there's a there's user voice is what you guys use, but there's a lot of other things. It's not just the publisher, saying, yeah, we want to work with you to do this, but it's actually doing all the due diligence and making sure legally we're all set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now that you heard a little bit directly from the people that make that backwards compatibility games available on Xbox, what do you think? As far as me, I definitely think when Activision publishes a remastered game again, it will be bundled with the newest Call of Duty title, just like it did last November. Now know this, the developer that made the original game probably won't be the one that does the remastered version of it, so don't think that Black Ops 2 can't be this year because Treyarch has to do it. It probably won't. Activision hired a developer called Raven to do Call of Duty 4 remastered, but that doesn't mean it's going to be Black Ops 2. If they do a remastered title, other possible candidates are Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3. I just don't think that Activision will make the game backwards compatible if they have any plans to remaster Black Ops 2 in the future, because it'll harm sales. I've got a lot of responses about you before about this topic, and with this new information, I'd really love to know what you think is going to happen now. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and your comment about this could be featured in my next video. Thank you all so much for watching.